welcome to Katie's Corner. Here's an update for you on the recent commission lawsuit. Here's what happened. So the National Association of Realtors has proposed a settlement. There are multiple lawsuits out there, but this specific one was around sellers being required to offer buyer's agent commissions. So it's to clarify and change that situation. So the way things are or were is sellers are required to offer commission to the buyer's agent. Buyers were told that their agent services were free because the seller was paying for them. And the commission was set and not negotiable. So these were the three main issues, and the proposed settlement that if everything goes through, these changes will be made effective mid-July, settles these three things. So one, the buyers must sign a written buyer representation agreement before the agent can show a home. This agreement will state exactly how much the buyer's agent or brokerage really is going to be paid. And that could be a percentage of the price, or it could be a flat fee, whatever's negotiated with that buyer and that buyer's agent and brokerage. It has to be a very clear agreement because the buyer is entering into a contract with their agent that the buyer is going to make sure the agent is paid. So that it's already done in Georgia. So in all of my agreements, I always have buyer agency agreements. So all of my buyers already have that written. And if you're in Georgia, that's probably true for you as well. It does depend on your agent, but it has been a standard practice in Georgia for a while. The seller can still offer a commission to the buyer's agent, but it won't be listed in the multiple listing service. So the way this looks is if the seller wants to still offer that incentive for the buyer, then it can still be shown that these things are a little unclear right now as far as that's just going to be broker to broker sharing that information or how that's going to be shared. I don't know. No one really knows because this isn't ironed out yet, and we've got 4 months before anything will be really ironed out. But that incentive can still be there if a seller chooses to do it. And the third thing is commissions are negotiable. So before they were set and not negotiable, so like a seller and a listing agent, meaning a seller's agent, would set and decide what they were going to offer for the buyer's commission. And they would usually do this based on the other homes that were selling in their area and what they were offering. So it wasn't like just a random number. It was you're entering a competition when you're a seller and you're selling your home. You're trying to have your home compete with all these other homes for buyer's attention, for a buyer to make an offer. And so it was sellers doing the same as what other homes are doing. So anyway, so commissions are negotiable. Each agent is going to set their own rate, or each brokerage is going to set their own rate. They're figuring out how they're doing this, if they're doing flat fees or they're doing percentages or combination of both, and really setting up kind of a menu of services. So that is the way that looks. So anyway, a seller's offer to pay a buyer's agent commission is really a buyer incentive. It's no different than a seller contributing to a buyer's closing cost. And in fact, I've had 2 transactions where and I've had over 80 transactions. So these 2 aren't like a big number in the scheme of it. But in these 2 transactions, my buyer did pay a portion of my commission. And then the rest of the commission was covered by the seller's agreement they had with their listing agent and the listing brokerage sharing commission. So anyway, we've handled that through seller paid contributed closing cost, or a buyer contributing this commission as part of their closing cost. So that is how it's handled. So what does this mean for you? I mean, that's ultimately what people care about, is like, how does this change if I'm selling a house or if I'm buying a house? So if you're selling a house, then when you go on the market, you're competing with all the other homes, like I mentioned before. So you need to know the price, the condition, what's going on with other homes, because they're comparable to your home, what is comparable to your home, and then what incentives they're offering. So you need to understand right now, today in March and through July, as buyer brokerage commission is still being offered, you need to understand what is being offered to buyers for other homes so that you really understand how your home is competing. And your agent should be able to share that with you. Should be part of their comp analysis that they're doing for you anyways, to be able to say, here's what happened with these homes that have sold, and here are the homes that are on the market, so therefore what we're competing with. So let's see here. If you are unsure what is being contributed, then you definitely should be asking your agent. The things that are going to be looked at when you're comparing homes: price, condition, location, those are always really important. But past that, when you're looking at comps, your comps should all be similar: price, condition, and location. So then you're looking into the days on market. So, if a home has been on the market for more than 2 weeks, it's considered getting more stale on the market versus a home that's been on the market less than 2 weeks. So just days on market is important. Concessions paid. So this is seller contributed closing cost. This includes buyer brokerage commission and any seller contributed closing costs that are helping the buyer pay for all of the closing costs a buyer has to pay for, from lender fees, attorney fees, title insurance, homeowners insurance. The buyer has about 3% of fees that they're paying in closing costs. So a lot of times they'll ask for some of that from the seller. And then you really need to understand the number of offers too that your competing homes have been getting, so that you can really determine your strategy with your agent. Your listing agent, which is representing a seller, should also be reviewing with you an estimate net to seller sheet to understand all the cost. So what that would look like is like what your home sold for, or what you're expecting to sell the home for, based on these comps, what you're expecting to contribute to closing costs, what you're expecting to do for repairs, what you're expecting to do for buyer brokerage commission if you're doing that. So just like all of those items listed out. And then there's some other things like taxes year to date and stuff like that. So your agent can help you with all of that. But whenever I was selling a home, that was always important to me. It's like, how much am I going to make? Like, how much will I leave the closing table with? And how quickly is it going to happen? And so those two questions should be able to be answered by your seller's agent, your listing agent, through that. Now, if you're buying, then you are competing with all the other buyers on the market. So, price, condition, and location are really important to you, as they are to all the other buyers. But then you're going to be looking at what are all of the incentives that are being offered by the seller, if any. So is the seller offering commission to cover your agent or not? Is the seller offering closing costs? Is the seller offering a low interest rate that you wouldn't be able to get on the open market, but they have an assumable loan? So there are different factors that make homes attractive to more people or less people, depending on those things.